Welcome, Central Worship Podcast listeners. We're continuing with our series on stories, and this is a little bit of a hybrid. We have some guests here who are part of our Central community, but also we're going to hear a little bit about their story as well. So I'm really looking forward to talking with some of our tech guys this week. We have Dan Lombardi and Cameron Cochran with us, and Cameron's a new addition to our team, so within the last few weeks here, so we're excited to have this. You're officially on the team now, so this will be kind of your first getting out there, I guess, coming out.
I'm excited.
So, why don't you guys say hello, just to introduce yourselves and welcome our listeners.
Hey, Dan Lombardi. I have been here full-time for 3 years now. I helped with sound for about a year before that, part-time. And I'm just loving Central, love the worship community, and just sound in general.
Yeah, well, we love having you, Dan. He was originally an electric player, which Cam is as well, obviously, and then we lost them to the sound booth. So he plays occasionally for us as a killer electric player, but is behind the controls now. So,
Yeah, well, my name is Cameron Cochran. I'm 21. I'm from 417 area. I've been born and raised here my whole life. I've been working here full time for maybe when this releases, I don't know.
A week, two.
Yeah.
Maybe first day.
Right. But yeah, I just graduated from Evangel University. I always, again, been a guitar player for maybe like 16 years. So then I, like most guitar players, we transitioned to audio, it seems.
Yeah.
But I'm doing new production at Central here now, and
Yeah. Well, everybody kind of knows it's a given thing that like musicians make the best sound people, right? I mean, you have to have some kind of musical bone in your body to be listening and adjusting and knowing what sounds good together.
100%.
Right.
So no surprise that both of you are excellent musicians, and also that translates well to being awesome sound guys as well. Tell us a little bit, Cam. How did you get involved in audio? What piqued your interest? Started experimenting with audio and sound?
Well, like I'd said, I'd been playing guitar for a super long time. I've been in rock bands, church bands, jazz bands, just any band, been a part of it. But I didn't really get into audio and like production stuff until college. So my degree is in commercial music and recording technology. So I was exposed a lot to like studio production, studio recording, and then as an extension to that with my like when I was a student at Evangel, I worked for Evangel Event Production. Shout out to Joel Wilson. But I got a lot of experience doing live production work there. But I was just kind of exposed to it through school and assignments. And Dr. Salazar was one of my professors. So
Lots of Central connections.
Right.
Yeah. How about you, Dan?
I started playing guitar at like 17, and we formed a band within months. And within months later, we started buying really cheap PA equipment.
Custom with a K, right? You know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We wished for custom at the time, but no. I just had to learn how to plug it in. What goes into what? What's an XLR cable? What is this gain control? It's just a volume. So it's the fader.
Sure.
Like, what's the difference? And I just grew from there, running sound for our own terrible band, and. Eventually, I started getting recording equipment and doing it in a studio environment, and just always enjoyed it from day one.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. Well, then let's talk a little bit. How did you get connected here at Central? What was the connection point here? How'd you get involved here? I know obviously you both started on worship team, and then that transition to being a part of the sound team.
I started going to church here in the late 90s. I was in the youth group for a bit, played guitar.
Wow,
yeah. Eventually, in my early 20s, moved away to find my own self. Started helping at different churches and met my now wife, and we got married and moved to Kansas City. You know, it's been a long time. But then Colin Ray called me out of the blue one day and asked about helping fill in for sound when there was a need, and almost immediately made mention that it could turn into longer. It was going to be a short-term thing, but just right away, walking back in the doors just felt, I don't want to say like coming home. It was a little cheesy, but.
You fell in love with us again. No.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were new to me.
Yeah,
There was so much of the building that was the same, and there were even a lot of staff members. It was crazy to see Colin again and Carter. I knew from back in the day, but it was meeting you for the first time and just really seeing what had been going on here.
Yeah, it's just awesome. Yeah, we'd love having you. Yeah. Cam.
Well, I the first time I experienced Central was with Heart Song Worship. I played electric guitar for Heart Song, and we were here. I don't specifically remember what it was for. I think it was like an AG credentialing service.
Yeah, probably a district council.
Yeah,
or
something like that.
Thing, yeah.
But I remember immediately afterward, like, thanks for coming, guys. Just God bless you. You and Dan beelined over to me and were like, hey, we did. Yeah. Hey, you need to play here.
We need some electric players.
So, so I was like, I mean, wow, they must really like me. Yeah. So I started helping out, and at the time I attended the Evangel Temple, and my parents attended there too, and just slowly I kind of moved over here. Just it felt right to me, and a big part of that was just how awesome the worship community, worship team, all those people are here, and you do a great job.
Sure. Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, the worship side of things, there's the musical side, there is the preparation side on from the platform, but man, a lot of that can't be heard or valued or even engaged without some type of audio and engagement and sound reinforcement. So really want to talk about maybe the philosophy there. How do you look at what happens on stage from the worship community? What's the philosophy? How's that fit in here at Central? How does sound fit in that philosophy of worship?
Sure. I think it's such a big part of Central that they are a singing church, and I can really help or hinder that from the soundboard. Mm-hmm. I think what's pretty unique around here is having still a choir every week and then an orchestra most weeks. It's not typical.
Sure.
And getting that to fit into the mix, it's really important for me to amplify what's happening on the stage, but make room for the congregation to be heard. There's certain things I do to try and get it, as loud as comfortably possible, but while leaving a big gaping hole for the congregation to be singing along.
Sure.
And to be heard with
Sure. And so and how does that, like, when you're thinking through sound check, when you're thinking through some of those things, you actually are envisioning congregation in that mix, like you're leaving a hole, a space for them. Which is
it's kind of the same hole as the preparation for it is making the hole for the choir. When I leave that room, when I push that choir DCA up and I want to hear them a certain volume and bouncing around the room and getting all around me. And if I can't get to that point, I have to make adjustments elsewhere. Because there are limitations of how loud those mics can get before it's just feedback.
And that, again, is our philosophy. Pastor Jim constantly is telling us we don't want spectators. We want people to participate in worship, in singing, in prayer, even the way we lead prayer, even with the message and communion and prayer workers, all of those things. It is a participational experience. And like you said, sound can make that. Like, you can drown the people out, and then they won't sing at all, or you won't hear them. Or it can be too quiet. And again, that hinders people from singing as well. There really is this sweet spot of and again, we'll talk about feedback and the way we've gotten to that point maybe in a few moments. But it really is something special. So you knew coming into Central, you've been here 2 or 3 years, I think you said, right? Did you notice that from first? Like, walk us through maybe when you came into Central and heard people sing, heard the sound, what was going through your head as a musician, as a sound guy, as a production guy?
Well, my first interaction with Central's sound was Heart Song.
So from the stage perspective.
Yeah, from the stage perspective. Yep. And I just noticed, like, because, if you aren't aware, like, a lot of the worship team, we use, like, in-ear monitors and, like, earbuds and, like, wireless packs and stuff like that. And I just noticed how, like, crystal clear everything sounded. And I was like, wow, like, that guy really knows what he's doing up there. And so, then I started, like, I would take my ear out and I'm like, it feels good. Like, if you, like, musicians know what I'm talking about. Like, if you feel like your sound or like the music is like around you, it's a lot easier to participate in being a musician in a huge space like Central, right? Because like if I'm playing and I don't hear anything, it's like, oh, I'm scared now, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just noticed how like the music just was like all around like the stage, and also like you said how the congregation was participating. That's a huge thing, because like you said, like if it's too quiet, you're gonna feel scared, and no one wants to be that guy who's singing loud, you know? But if you can match like what Central has done so well, like the volume of like you said, making a space, like, and when you're thinking about a mix, you know, like not everything can be the loudest thing at all times, right? So like if there's like a lead line or something, like I interned with Dan, so I know that he does this. Like if electrics are playing a lead line, he'll push them up, and depending on if they're, you know, adding good stuff to the song, he'll either keep them up or pull them down anyway. And like, and that is all, you know, not because Dan has a vendetta against electric guitar players, because it's quite the opposite. But it's because, you know, like the electric is not the most important part of the song in that moment. And usually what ends up happening, if it's like a big chorus, a big bridge or something, like you can very clearly and distinctly hear the choir. Yeah. And that is, like you said, just to encourage the church to sing. And the church is like, that's the reason you lead worship. You're not leading the worship team, you're leading the people out there. So yeah,
that's great. So can you talk maybe how do your preferences shape that? So, or do you have to lay those preferences aside? Like, I imagine you're not listening to choral music, you know, back in your office.
You are correct.
Yeah. However, you may have, you know, a huge electric song, you know, songs that have that as the feature. So how do those preferences kind of play?
The vocals have to stand out, and the beat has to stand out. Yeah. Guitar, synth, even piano to a degree. There are instruments that they're going to be really heavy in the mid-range and can really easily get in the way of a vocal. Yeah. So I usually have all the guitars are grouped together on one fader, and when I'm working the mix, I'll have the drums up loud enough where when people are clapping along, and when there's, you know, 1,200 people in the room and they're all clapping along, you could all of a sudden realize, like, oh, nope, I need more. Yeah. Because they'll lose it, and they'll get ahead, they'll get behind. Then I have to make sure the vocals are clearly heard. I have to make sure the choir can get above it. Yeah. You know, I'm a guitar player, and I would love to think that the guitar is, you know, highly featured all the time. Because then when I play, I have every part figured out, you know. Yeah. And I got my tones meticulously dialed in. But the fact of the matter is, guitars and synths and tracks, they're going to fill in the space that's left. Sure. It's just as simple as that. So the guitar playing, having great tone is super important to just fitting in where I want them, and I can leave them at this certain volume. And they will definitely be heard. I want them to be heard. Yeah. But I do have to mellow out my own preferences. In fact, the only note I got about yesterday's service, after first service, Colin was like, if there's one thing, the electric guitar might be a little loud. You'll have to watch that. Yeah. So I did. I watched it a little closer in second service. But, yeah, I just have to think about the bigger picture.
When I can even remember whenever you first came, those first like 3 to 6 months, like I remember, and a continuing thing was like the band sounded awesome, but I couldn't hear the choir, or the band sounded awesome, but I couldn't hear the orchestra. So you were you had to kind of find the philosophy of Central, and getting feedback like that, especially as a sound guy or a professional, like a creative, like that's sometimes hard to hear. So how did you? You know, how was that feedback given to you? How did you receive it? How did you give feedback? Like, I get feedback from you regularly as well. You know, we have a meeting where we meet, and you can say to me, like, hey, like, don't have the horns playing when, you know, you're trying to hear, you know, speak over a spoken word or something. Like, there's little things like where we've established that relationship. So maybe talk about the way feedback's given and how you've gotten to a place, you know, to what it is.
Yeah, it did take a while to get in the groove. In fact, when I first came, the orchestra was 11 people strong, I think. And I put like 3 mics out, and you came up and you're like, oh, we usually mic a little more than that. Like, I was kind of picturing area miking, just for the sake of, they'll be in it.
Right.
But, in the grand scheme of things,
yeah.
What are we doing here?
Right, yeah.
But, and I just didn't get it. I wasn't there yet. It took some back and forth with Colin Ray, communications director, and hearing back from you. And eventually, Carter McDaniel and I got to go to have lunch one day and just dug into it even a little deeper.
Yeah.
And he even made some suggestions, coming from a sound background.
Yeah.
Which I highly respect his opinion. I take criticism well most of the time. I always try to, and I almost always do take it really well. And feedback it's important because I only have one seat.
Right.
And it's a good seat. I like where the sound booth is, and I hear a pretty accurate representation. But the room is a little wild in some areas.
Sure.
And I rely on, I hear it from Carter in the front row, and Colin actively walks around the sanctuary.
And that's every week. I see him doing that. Like during sound check, during the service, and so when we do get, feedback from other people, we do take that into consideration, but we have people placed throughout, and that's kind of the trusted feedback, right? From those kind of 3 or 4 people, Pastor Jim, Carter, Colin, they know where the room should be and what it should be, and they kind of keep you accountable to what that is. You were mentioning even at lunch, you have some things that you are your foundations, and when I'm starting to push it a button and I can't hear my the lead vocal or don't hear.
Yeah, you're at the same level every week.
Yeah.
So if we're getting on a big song, and I'm like, I need to turn Josh up. It's like, nope, I don't need to turn Josh up. Something's too loud.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the organ's too loud. Maybe the electric guitar is too loud. Maybe the drums are too loud, and that's another preference. I like big drums, but for the Christmas festival, for instance, when there's 150 people on stage, and I'm trying to get a big orchestral sound, I realized I had the drums about 4 dB quieter in the mix than I would on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But it was to fit everything else in. I want to create a huge sound that is dynamic and grows, and the orchestra is hugely dynamic, and the choir is hugely dynamic. And if you just have a loud drummer sitting at this volume the whole time, it actually takes away.
Right.
Yeah. So I want it to be bigger and punchier. It sounds wrong.
Yeah.
But the answer was turn them down.
Yeah. And the drums may not, you could get the drums to sound better if there wasn't a choir, if there wasn't an orchestra, more definition. So there is that little bit of give and take of we've got to sacrifice maybe the exact tonal quality we want to hear the choir, hear the orchestra, or, it's not as punchy as we would like. And I think that's what, you do such a great job is getting feedback and receiving it. And man, I think the quality of what we put out is fantastic. Constantly we're getting how do you get your online to sound so good? How do you, and again, how's the choir heard? And some of that is intentional on the musician side, crafting arrangements where it comes down and here's where we need to hear the choir, or, hey, the intro of this is where we really need to hear the strings. 'Cause I know that you can't hear everything all the time. It's just, that's not, and it's an impossible thing. But if you hear each thing throughout the set, they have, like you said, their sliver in the mix or their sliver in the service. It's oh yeah, I heard acoustic guitar today. Maybe not in every single song, but here's where that moment was, or here's where those pieces are. And we have to be on a similar page to make that happen. Yeah. So maybe talk about your workflow. What's your week look like in prepping for services? I know you're just starting, Cam. You haven't really got a week going on here, but what does that workflow look like?
It's mostly just looking at Planning Center, seeing who's on, and I have to do all the stage setup. I'll soon have more help with that, which I'm really excited about. I mean, I already do have more help with that. Patching all the channels, making notes of where they are, going up to the console, and making sure they're all correct, doing all this stuff ahead of time, because when rehearsal starts, you want to be rehearsing.
Right.
And the last thing we want, you come in on a Sunday morning, even a Wednesday night, you come in and you start playing and you're like, there's no electric guitar, or I'm listening to someone else's in-ear mix right now because I forgot to patch something. So I do spend extra time ahead of time
Not to mention, that's a pretty long walk down if you have to be up from the sound booth to the
walk.
stage, back and forth multiple times.
I have
you're
just as big a reason as anybody to not want anything to be wrong on stage. You're 100% right.
It's probably going to make me run up all those stairs.
Yep.
Make the new guy do it. So, nice. Anything else there? Yeah.
Man, that's the biggest part. It's just being detail-oriented, checking stuff ahead of time. I set up for bigger events, and there's a bigger orchestra, more channels, more microphones, I'll always take an iPad and walk around the stage and just snap in front and be like, "Yep, violin 1," and I can see it on the iPad.
Yeah,
and I'll discover any issues before anybody gets there, because it's borderline impossible to try and fix the viola 2 mic once all 50 of them are sitting in their spot. Yeah. I'm not a tiny guy. Like, getting between a bunch of violinists and cellists is just, it's hard. Hard work. Yeah.
Let's go to Cam. What is maybe a time you were running sound or doing audio where everything went wrong? Funny story there. Is there anything you can think of that just, disaster moment?
Man. Yeah, so it was actually my first time running sound ever for something. It was at Evangel. There's a student-led chapel called Encounter Chapel, and I was so excited to set it up. I got there so early, and I was finally I'm behind the board and stuff. And service went on, and all this stuff, and it sounded good to me. Worship was good, and then the pastor started speaking, and one of the worship guys texted me. He's like, "Hey, I don't know if you knew this, but Spotify, for the pre-service playlist was being played the whole time
in their ears on stage."
It was in their ears, and then I looked at the board, and it was coming through the house the whole time. I just didn't know it.
Oh my goodness.
And then apparently everybody else knew it except for me. So, but stuff happens, and there's one time also I was a lot of my sound experience at this point has come from Evangel, I was doing a lot of Evangel stuff, and one time the president was speaking and his mic didn't work, and then the spare mic that he had wasn't working, and then he was like, "Yeah, those sound guys over there, they need to figure out what they're doing."
That's the worst.
I know. I'm
they do it from the stage. I know. I'm
shout
out.
Oh, great. Yeah. So anyway, stuff will always not work at some point.
Sure.
And it's really important to, have it. You can't panic.
Sure.
So
let's talk to other sound engineers here for a minute. So we'll put Central Worship people on hold. What's some advice you'd give to a brand new sound engineer, a brand new volunteer working in sound?
Use your ears.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
It's too easy in the digital world. Everybody's got digital consoles, and a lot of them will have Waves plugins, and we do too.
Yeah.
Our whole console is Waves, where you see everything on a pretty picture. And when you're EQing something, you're almost trying to draw a picture when you're trying to figure out your cues and everything like that. And it is so important to just use your ears to hear what's wrong and be able to identify, to hear a vocal and be like, yeah, there's too much 230 hertz, ish. And you could maybe use metering to verify that, but use your ears. It's important.
I mean, along kind of hand in hand with that, if something is not you can EQ something as much as you want, but sometimes it's just a bad source.
Yes.
And there's nothing you can do to fix that besides having a conversation with whoever it is. And so I would say, along with not mixing with your eyes and mixing with your ears, be intentional with developing the relationships between you and the people on stage.
Huge.
Because
huge.
If I'm friends with you and I say, hey, can you maybe change this? It's okay. But if I'm only talking to you only if there's a problem ever, then that's just kind of a friction area.
Yeah, you got to get feedback, positive and negative.
Right.
And just have that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know sometimes if there's an area in rehearsal that, that maybe hasn't gone so well, for a song or something, Dan will solo talk to you
Yep.
and your ears only say like, hey, you need to fix that.
Yeah.
Or like, you need to do that again because it didn't sound good.
Yeah, I
And,
make
like,
you deliver the bad news.
Yeah. Yeah. So like just being able to like have the relationships to like actually communicate healthy critical feedback is super important because you're in like the most critical spot in the house. You know, like you hear everything.
Well, and how often even say in rehearsal, hey, we ran that to that, like even on Sunday,
Yeah.
the lead lines weren't, like I was playing something a little different than the electric part. Like, is that working? Do we need to do that again? Like just trusting someone who has the whole picture out there. So that's awesome. What's a technology piece of equipment that is on your wish list or maybe you're most excited about at this point?
I mean, we could use, the choir could be better than it is. Unfortunately, that boils down more to room acoustics and the amount of space. So, like, equipment won't do it alone, but different choir mics and then maybe a choir flex in the future.
Yeah.
For those times where we really need to. I think on an average Sunday, I get plenty, but it's those special moments when there's a full orchestra, a full band, and there's no front line.
Yeah.
And the choir's just leading. There's always, you could always have a little more.
Sure.
So that's kind of a bigger dollar item that's been on the wish list for a little bit.
Sure. Sure.
But I'll put acoustics ahead of that, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
If they gave me the budget for that first, like, that's where I would go.
Acoustic treatment. Yeah.
Acoustic treatment.
Yeah. Anything?
I mean, acoustics probably is what I would say too. You know, I mean,
it goes along with fix the source.
Yes.
Like, we could get a more expensive special microphone just for the cello or something, but fix the source. And with acoustics, like, that's going to be.
And it really does start with like
makes
a good
everything
quality.
better.
Like the better the guitar tone coming to you, the better the quality of the vocalist, the better,
Yes.
you know, the drummer has to play with confidence and like the rim shots and all those. The better source you're getting, the easier that makes, you know, your life for sure.
And a lot of people don't realize with acoustics, but like minute things like temperature or like humidity can actually affect how it sounds in a room drastically.
Yeah.
And so like, for example, in Central's auditorium, like the main one, you know, there's those two big old brick walls on the side, and those sound likes to reflect or like bounce off of hard surfaces. And so when it's cold and those hard surfaces are, you know, more dense, then you get more reflections and like, so being able to deal with that would be cool.
Awesome. All right, well, hey, let's do the rapid fire. You guys are doing an awesome job here. So one thing that worship leaders or worship team members should start doing, and then maybe a pet peeve of yours that they do as well.
Start doing's harder because I would say, you know, about preparation, that has really not been an issue here. I mean, that's leadership on your end. The singers come in ready to sing, and the guitar players know their parts. You know, there's a few people that just always love having the sheet music in front of them, and maybe it's just because I don't read sheet music, but I'd always memorize. If I'm ever playing guitar, I just have the whole set memorized. And I don't feel like that's too much to ask most of the time, but some of these guys are just so good at reading music that that's what they do. So what should they be doing that they aren't? I don't think I have an answer.
What about a pet peeve? Any pet peeves of like, it doesn't have to be from our team, just
overplaying.
Overplaying
during a set, like, you know, I mean, Central is such a big like worship community, so that like when you're on stage and there's like a whole orchestra and a beautiful sounding grand piano and a nice drum set and sometimes 2 electric guitars and a mandolin and a choir and I can just keep going on. Right. Like at some point, if everybody is just making a lot of sound, it's gonna sound like a wall of sound and not like music.
Yep.
And you know,
got to make space for all.
Got to make space. So like we just attended a little conference. I don't know if it was conference. I don't know what I would even call it. It was like a showcase. It was a demo of like some gear that this guy Jeff Sandstrom was like. It was at North Point Church, so a lot of sound techs in the area went out to check it out, and he was demoing a new console and everything. But he runs sound for like Tomlin and Lauren Daigle and stuff like that. So he had multi-tracks from a Lauren Daigle show.
Yeah.
And he played them through with like using virtual sound check, which is basically, if you don't know, it's like a recording that you can play and run through the console, and you can like mix on the console of a recording.
Like the band's in the room, just like you're there. Yeah.
But he was like, listen to like the pocket that the drums are giving. It's like, it's super basic and really simple and repetitive when I solo the drums. But then it's like when I add guitar that's playing like, you know, upbeat like reggae stuff, and then the bass is doing a walk down, and then like the choir, like, or like the background vocalists, and then like the Rhodes piano, like it sounds like music because they all have a lane.
Yeah.
They're all doing distinctly something. So when someone has a lane that they're in, it's not about, can I hear everyone? It's like, if I look at someone, can I tell what they're doing? You know, like if all the guitars are just strumming like this, you know, it's just
need that variance.
It's a lot of noise.
Yeah. That's good. Well, let's wrap this up with just 2 questions here. Let's take it spiritual for a moment. So we've been pretty practical through all of this. What's something God has been teaching you in this season? And then what worship song is on repeat, your favorite at the moment? So,
for me, I don't know. I can really easily have a bit of an ego. There's pride, and I could be really quick to point out when someone else has done something wrong. I can be. That's not how I want to be.
Sure.
By the grace of God, but it happens, and I feel like he's continually like just pushing me towards humility, and I need it, and I crave it.
Sure.
And I feel like it's a pretty constant thing, but he's just got his hands on my shoulders, just like, okay, all right, let's.
Yeah, it's natural, right, to take pride in your work, to feel empowered in that way. But there is a level of like, I've got to submit this and surrender this as our gift to the Lord too, right? Yeah.
And there, I can and do make mistakes, and just being more gracious with others and being just more practical about how I go about things.
It's awesome.
It's a pretty constant lesson for me. So.
It's awesome, Dan. Yeah. And then what worship song do you got?
Oh man, I like different worship songs for different reasons. As like a guitar player, as a sound guy, or as a worshiper, they're all for different things. Jesus Be the Name is pretty big in my regular inventory right now.
There's a couple weeks ago you shared a clip with the cello and the electric, and I think that was a really, really nice moment. I remember. It's so open and free.
It lends itself, to just feeling so deep. I don't know
beautiful.
How else to describe it.
Cam, all right.
Yeah. So what I've been learning, I feel like in this new season from God is like, I'm in this season of life change right now, like post graduation, and like I have been working this job for maybe a couple of days, maybe a week at this point.
Yeah.
When this gets released, and like that's, it's just a life-changing season. So I've been, learning to trust God, and just, he's been telling me a lot to like just trust that he would provide, and like, he has all my steps lined out for me. So I know that anything that will happen is like supposed to happen, And like I was back in, before I graduated, I was really paranoid about finding work and stuff. And I applied like so many places, and they all said no. And so I just kind of took the step back as like, I need to chill out. And also like, God, you got it. Sure. And then this happened. And I think it's meant to be, and it's perfect.
So we weren't your first choice. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Multiple interviews, no. So
I'm joking.
The right thing happened.
Right. The right thing happened at the right time.
Yeah.
It's been a really good lesson for me. But as far as worship music goes, I don't listen to a ton of new stuff all the time, like the new worship music. But I am a sucker for Shane and Shane.
Yes.
And so like their Psalms album, just anything on there is like, if I throw on worship music, I'm probably going to throw on something like that, or like Charity Gale or something. But if I had a specific song, Shane and Shane's Psalm 13 or Psalm 23 is just, it's awesome. So
yeah, I mean, Shane and Shane, they've been around for years and years. I remember, I don't know, this is probably back in the early 2000s. They had an album that was like Yearn and Be Near, Oh God. Like, man, I still love going back and listening to some of those, like those super tight harmonies. And just,
and they're so good at guitar too.
Yes.
Like both of them.
Yeah.
They're insane.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, guys. Hey, it's been great having you on the podcast today. Thanks for joining us. Pray that our listeners just enjoy hearing a little bit behind the scenes of our sound guys and just a little into the life of Dan and Cam. And again, thank you for being here. And we're getting ready to wrap up season 3 here in the next few episodes. So stay tuned, and we will look forward to having you next time.